Hey folks, yeah, I know. Well, I guess actually I should look here because this looks like I'm looking roughly into the center of the screen. I think. I don't know. I never know to look at the webcam, look at the screen. You know what? We'll look at the webcam. I'm just gonna do this whole video like that. See how it goes. Today is a lovely day in LA, which I don't say very often because I actually really don't like it here. I'm not a big fan of dry weather. I'm not a big fan of hot weather. And those are two things that LA has in spades. Some people will be like, "Oh, why do you live in LA?" It's the money, right? Jobs. That's why I'm here. That's why a lot of people I know are here. My room is still a giant mess. I work Monday through Friday, so I have not had time to clean it up, but I still want to do these videos every day. All right, so to follow up with what I want to talk about tonight, there should be a video that I'm going to put up right about here. So in the autofocus that I thought I turned off doesn't screw with the screen. I'll put it right here. And I'd love if you'd watch it real quick before you watch the rest of my rambling nonsense. Because it's actually got a scientist in it, guy's gone to college, probably has a PhD, unlike me. I mean, I went to college, but I have a general studies degree, so yeah. I'll give you a moment to do that. I'm just gonna look around the room. Are you back? I mean, that's how this works, right? I put up the video and you watched it, right? Okay. Trusting you. Something I find kind of interesting that we sort of live, and this is going to be a little hippy-dippy, but just bear with me. Again, not a smart guy, I just find things interesting. It's interesting to me that the world is kind of inverted. I mean, on multiple levels, right? So, like, when you look at something, and it goes through your iris, it ends up getting flipped when it goes through your eye, and it hits the back of your eye. Your brain then flips that back over. So I'm told that if you wear glasses that flip what's coming into your eyes, so that ultimately the result is that it hits the back of your eye right side up, so that your brain then flips it upside down, that given a week or 2 weeks or some arbitrary amount of time, I don't remember the amount, the ultimate result of that story is that apparently you will eventually flip it in your brain again so that it is right side up again, and that if you take off the glasses you'll have to then do recovery in the other direction. Don't know if that's true or not. I guess we'll find out when future me edits this video. But anyways, so that's the first step that our world's sort of inverted, is that we're taking things in, flipping them over, and then our brain has to take care of the rest. The next one is that, which is more pertinent to this video, or more relevant to the video that I'm linking, is that I find it interesting that when you look at something, you're sort of seeing you're sort of seeing what's not there. We look at this, we take this pole, right? And what you see, well, I'll flip it so it's mostly black. What you see is black, but it's not necessarily that it's black, if my understanding is correct. It's that basically all light that hits this does not reflect off of it. And so what you're left with, your brain processes it as something lacking color. Similarly, if you had something that was white, then you're dealing with a situation where everything is reflecting off of this. There's no wavelength of visible light that is hitting this. Well, I'm sure there is, because this isn't technically straight white, but if it were perfectly white, then every wavelength of light that hits it is reflecting off and going into your eye, or in this case, going into the camera lens. And I find that interesting because what you're seeing there is not necessarily, like, if you could give color a tangible, think of it like chemicals, right? If you could give color a chemical composition, what that thing is not necessarily what you see. And further, if you watch this video, it gets even more interesting, because when you have wavelengths that interact with each other in some way, ultimately what you get on the end in your eye is some sort of average, some middle ground that's not technically true. Like you can have an object that isn't blue, but like it doesn't have a blue pigment, but when you look at it, it appears to be blue. You think for all intents and purposes that it is blue, and that you start to wonder, well, I mean, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, I guess. Color is color, but um, you wonder, is that any more, or at least I wonder, is that any more or less valid than blue that comes from pigments? So if I can make something look blue because I adjust the, sort of like those glasses that flips the image, if I can give you something that makes the colors of everything wrong, sort of like, I guess those polarity filters on cameras would do that, but if I can give you something that makes everything adjust it so that it's not technically correct, does that matter, I guess? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm necessarily thinking. That's sort of the thing, is because it doesn't really matter at the end of the day what color something is. As long as you can operate, it's all good. But I just find it interesting that you could... I find it interesting that you could make someone's world entirely wrong and they would never know. Like, the only reason I know any colors, any particular color, is because somebody else pointed at it at one point and told me it was green, or yellow, or red. And then I told them, that's green, or yellow, or red. And that was the end of that. There was no sort of debate. And I often wonder what subtle differences in vision that we each person has. Because I know there's color blindness. I know some people can't see like red, blue, or red, green, something like that. But even beyond that, like, what does your green look like? Like, when you look at this, what red do you see? Assuming you see red. I mean, I'm actually in this camera with this gain and white balancing. It kind of looks a little orange to me. Perhaps an off red. Or if I flip it over, what color do you see here? Not a trick question, by the way. Like, how close is our vision? How close is what you see to what I see? Doesn't matter at the end of the day, but it's something that I find weird. We just sort of take it for granted that we're all sort of on the same page, but we don't really know. We just kind of collectively agree that we roughly are seeing the same thing. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if you watch this, if you know of any papers that can sort of suggest exactly what a cone or a rod will... I actually don't recall which one processes color. Well, I'm not even trying to sound smart. If you can find or know of a paper that actually details out some sort of mechanical way to know exactly what an eye sees, I would love to read it. If you put it in the comments, that would be cool. Or you can just mention it on Twitter, just be like, hey, dummy, here's this thing that you should know about, but you don't. That would be really cool. Yeah, I think that's it for today. I need to edit this. Got a few more hours. Maybe I'll be able to slip in some game dev or something. I need to cut my hair. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. You know? You're still watching. You shouldn't do that. You stop it right now.